Hello punters and welcome back to another Saturday racing preview. Of course, in this video looking at the meeting at Flemington tomorrow. Really good meeting as always. It always is quite good. The meetings both at Flemington and obviously Randwick, and whilst when we're at the other metropolitan tracks in Victoria and New South Wales, always get some good meetings on Saturdays, even through these winter periods. So really looking forward to the meeting on the weekend, and it's plenty of winners, and as always, there's plenty of value as well, which we'll be looking at. So moving on to the first race of the card at Flemington, of course, not going to waste too much time. At the moment, the track's rated a soft 6. It's actually quite sunny here where I am. I'm about 40 or so minutes out of the city and from Flemington, so I have often seen here in Melbourne that it'll be raining up towards the city, but then it'll be down sort of around where I live. There'll be quite sunny, or vice versa. So who knows? But look, at this stage, I'd suggest we will be getting a wet track. I can't see it drying up into a good track, but I suggest that maybe we'll get those soft conditions. I don't think we'll get into that heavy range. So at this stage, I've done my form based on the soft track, but with that heavy track in mind, in case there is a bit of rain to come about later on this evening, which could happen. So moving on to the first race of the card, it's a Jim Beam Hill Plate over the 1,000 metres. Obviously, 11:35 race start time, so nice and early. Obviously, we'll have the Eagle Farm kicking off before this meeting. So if you haven't already done so, go and check out the Eagle Farm preview if you're keen to have a go there tomorrow. Of course, the JJ Atkins and Stradbroke, the two Group 1s of the day. Be very keen to have a go at those. There's plenty of value to be found in both of those races there. So if we're moving to this race anyway, over the 1,000 metres, look at the speed map for this one. I'd suggest that there'll be quite a lot of pace in this. I'd say Power and Prince and From Within will go forward. Snitzcraft and All Over Bossa Nova will be up there as well. Missy Yo is a bit of an interesting one. Horse that doesn't mind being out towards the pace, but I suggest it might settle back towards midfield. Look, pretty hard to go against Prezado here. Obviously, he's struck back to the form that he's always promised. He always has been a horse with a lot of talent, but he just has never really put it together. And now it seems like he is doing so. And his last two wins have been excellent, beating the Inevitable and King of Hastings, who I think are very above average horses, especially the Inevitable we know is a proper group horse. So I think those wins, there's a lot of merit in that. And I think he can win here again. I think he strikes a field that's very beatable. Craig Williams jumps into the saddle, $2.40. Pretty short, but obviously he's not. Before these last two wins, he wasn't a regular winner, but he is seemed to be in a bit of form now, and this is a weaker classic race than what he's faced previously. So I think he's got to go on top for me, ahead of number 3, What From Within him for second, who's currently at $3.70 in the market at this stage. And the horse that doesn't mind a soft track has had 3 starts on a soft track for 2 wins. So perhaps it could run a lot better getting onto this type of surface. Obviously, Damien Oliver in the saddle. Finished only 1.2 lengths behind Rosada last time out. Just got overrun late. So will be a little bit fitter. And obviously, like I said, comes on that wet track. It probably get that swing it to make it a little bit more even between the two. So it goes in for second. In for third, I've got number 5, Mr. Yeo, who is an interesting runner who comes back to Jim Collins from Singapore. Now, we don't see a lot of horses come from Australia, go overseas, and come back again and perform. So it is a tough task, but this is a horse that obviously you got to look at its form. I mean, in Singapore, it did not race in a group race, so right away, right off the bat, there's already better form than this. In general, obviously, it's hard to weigh up sometimes international group form compared to Australian group form, but the fact that it has done so in that it includes a third in a Group 1, a third in a multiple placings at Group 2 level, and a couple of places at Group 3 level. So, look, this is a horse that has a lot of ability, and it doesn't win out of turn, so I'm not sure if it can win first up here, but it is a really interesting horse. At $15, about a horse who's been a proper group horse in Singapore at his Group 1 placed. Against these, if it can run even, I guess, close to that type of form, it'll be very well in the finish here. So it goes in for third for me. And then in for fourth, number 6, Power and Prince, who looks to come back and win this race like it did last year first up, though. He has a really good chance for Jay DeRose, obviously the jockey and trainer for that horse there. And doesn't mind the wet conditions either, so I think he'll get through it just fine. At the $14, he's over the odds. But look, Prazado's hard to beat here, I think. I think he can get Pars off to a good start for the day at the $2.40, so he goes on top for me, ahead of number 3, From Within him for second. In for third, number 5, Mr. Yo, and in for fourth, I've got number 6, Power and Prince. The other horse who I think's got a bit of a chance in the race is Snitzcraft, who just loomed up last start and was pretty well backed, considering it's a horse that's been well out of form. Hasn't won in a long time now. Last win, in fact, was in December 2019, so not that long ago, but look how many runs have been between then. There's been 7 runs since that win, so he hasn't won for a few race starts now, but he's getting closer. He was good last time out behind Tavastan. The quick 7-day backup's an interesting one for him, so he could probably find some improvement. So, but look, I am keen on Brazado on top for me. He is the one to beat. Moving on to race number 2 on the program now, and it's over 1,100 metres for the 2-year-old fillies. It's the Schweppes Baggerville Trophy. And look at the speed map for this race here. Real interesting race, this one. I'd say Last C off barrier number 5 will get forward. Sabrina, Sunshines will be up there. And I'd say Pocket Goddess will be pretty close as well. But not a whole lot of pace for a 2-year-old race, which is quite surprising. But look, I'm pretty keen on a horse that's resuming here called Sophia, who ran in that race behind Hanseatic at Sandown. And the form of that race has just always been elite. I think I've mentioned it a fair few times over the last few months in the 2-year-old racing season. And it's just been a lot of form out of, obviously Hanseatic's won. The away game came out of that form. Obviously, probably one of the best 2-year-olds to come out of this crop. You could probably argue the best 2-year-old of the season. So the form has been really good at that race. Sophia was pretty strongly backed on that occasion as well. Went from double figures, I think it was about $12, $13 into $9 on that occasion. So the fact that it was strongly backed, I think this horse that could run well here first up and jumped out really nicely. So it looks sharp and ready to go for this. So it goes on top. Head of Pocket Goddess. I've been waiting for her to resume into this into her race. She was good last start at Warrnambool, finished second to Chrome Angel. Chrome Angel was a little bit disappointing last week here at Flemington, but look, I still think the Pocket Goddess got plenty of ability up her sleeve, and she can improve off of that first up run. So she can run well, especially if there's not a lot of pace in the race as well. So she goes in for second. In for second. In for third, number 15, Zesty Bell, who also resumes here, has been really strongly backed in the market as well. It comes out of that Mildred race. Obviously, Mildred had some decent form, and form of that race really early doors was quite good as well. That was obviously one of the first sort of 2-year-old races of that season. So a long time back, and she's had a bit of a spell since then, but she's really jumped out sharply, and she looks ready to go here first up as well. So got to respect it, and also respect the money for her as well. So she goes in for third. Then for fourth, number 1, Divine Capri, who she's got to carry the weight, but gee, she probably sets up pretty nicely at the $10. I can't believe she's at that price. And look, the fact is that, obviously Craig Williams in the saddle, so she's going to have a good chance in this, and $10 is a bit over the odds, so she goes in for fourth. But recap the numbers for me. I am keen on number 14, Sophia. I think will run really well first up here. So she goes on top ahead of number 3, Pocket Goddess, in for second. In for third, I've got number 15, Zesty Bell, and in for fourth, number 1, Divine Capri. Moving on into race number 3 on the program, now over the 2,000 metres for the 3-year-olds. It's the Separate Wines Grand Fleur Handicap. Flanu, look at the speed map here. I'd say Independent Road and Dargo are probably the 2 pace horses in the race. So not a lot of these do like to get forward in their runs, which does make it a little bit interesting. I'd say Persan will probably be prominent, and Aurora Symphony might be able to push forward as well. So even Epsom Days might be able to press forward as well from there. So not a whole lot of pace in the race. So a lot of these well-fancied horses in the market won't want to get too far back in the field. But also I thought was well over the odds here at $6 is Hypercane. Now this is a horse who finished second last start to Gamekeeper, of course, in the LA Guineas. Now Gamekeeper, we know what it did a couple of weeks ago, came out one again. So form for Hypercane's really good, and it was a huge run there. It came from a long way back and finished in for second. Now I remember doing my review after that performance and saying that this is a horse who want to be following, especially if it steps out of a distance. Well, here we are. It goes from 1,600 metres up to the 2,000. I think this horse will be hard to beat. The Jollies don't often bring horses over to Victoria, and when they do, they usually are a pretty good chance. So I think that this horse will be hard to beat, and I've got it on top. I think it's going to be, I think it really will be the one to beat. So I've got it on top ahead of number 9, Persan, who I think's got some nice form around it. Finished second to Brilliant Concept last start, who came out again and won midweek at Sandown. It was an impressive win as well. It was 3 wide. It was wide the whole trip just about, and just still managed the motor over the top. It's such a good horse in the heavy track. And Persan now comes back to a firmer surface, which I'm not sure if that's good for him or not, because, I mean, he's had 8 starts on a good track for just the 2 placings, but he's been really good this preparation so far, so I've got to give him a good chance in this type of race, and he's bred to sort of get out to this type of distance. He has been out here before. He ran into the Group 1 behind Shadow Hero, of course, the Derby, and finished 8th on that occasion, so he was a long way back, but he did run really well there, so I think that he can run well again here. And it's the number 9, Persan, goes in for second. In for third, I've got number 6, Highland Jack, who finished fourth behind Gamekeeper last time out. So similar type of form line there as well. I think this is also we appreciate getting back onto the firm's track. Obviously, the last two starts been on wet surfaces, but has run well on him, even though he doesn't necessarily seem to be the best wet track galloper. He has performed well on them, but steps out to the 2,000 metres here. I think he'll improve. He was good last start, and it was only a length off Gamekeeper, really, so he's going to be a good chance with Craig Williams in the south barrier number 1. Hopefully, Craig's quite prominent there and gets it into a decent enough spot. Number 1, He's a Fox is the other one who I think can improve. Last start, just struggled a little bit on the heavy tracking behind Gamekeeper. Was really well supported on that occasion, though, and can forgive that run and hope that it runs better this time round. So the other horse that I haven't put Cool Thin, who I think is just way too short. I think it's an exciting horse, and I'm interested to see how he goes stepping out to 2,000 metres. He's obviously sired by Dundee, so he is bred to get out to this type of distance range. And but he goes from 600 straight to the 2,000 metres, and he comes out of Murray Bridge and Balaclava form, which, no disrespect, obviously he did beat Love from Lucy last start at Murray Bridge, who hasn't been too bad. So look, the form's okay, but it's not great for me to warrant as a $2.80 favourite compared to some of these. So definitely be laying cool personally. I just want to horse that you want to see do it before you can get into it. So, and the other horse that I think has a bit of a chance is Dargo, who, like I mentioned in the speed map, is going to get all the time in the lead. Michael Rod in the saddle. This horse did finish second last start. It was a really good run behind Jungle Jane. It didn't actually lead on that occasion, which was a bit of a surprise. So I'm sure that Cindy Alderson will be hoping this horse jumps out and gets towards the front, but he'll be leading for a long way as well. But look, recap the numbers for me. I am pretty keen on number 3, Hypercane, on top here, ahead of number 9, Persan in for second. In for third, I've got number 6, Highland Jack, and in for fourth, number 1, He's a Fox. Moving on to race number 4 on the program now. It's the GH Mum Picnic at Flemington Trophy over the 1,400 metres, benchmark 78 grade race. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Ackermon and the Master Speed will be up towards the pace. Come on, Carl probably be up prominent as well. More Wanted, Honey Esprit, and Holbein will all be pressing on for the pace as well. So it could be a little bit of pace in this type of race here to make it quite interesting. Now, this is an interesting field here. There's a few of these that are very much unknowns, and I think one of them that I am pretty keen on that is a bit of an unknown is number 16, I Could Do Better, who's got the wide barrier, but this is a horse that obviously comes in this first up, has good fresh forms, had 2 starts first up for 2 wins. Damien Oliver's in the saddle, which is a positive. Horse that's run well over the distance before, so it has had 6 career starts, and of the 4 starts which have been sort of around this 1,400 metre mark, it's won 3 of them, so that's a good shine and good kick-off point for this horse. Has won on a soft track before, which is a positive as well, and has obviously won on firmer surfaces as well. So this is a horse that I think could run well here at the $12 first up. So I've got it on top ahead of number 11, Gold Mag, who is a very good horse on a wet track, and obviously it's had two starts on heavy for 2 wins and 3 starts on a soft track for a win and 2 placings. So I think he will finally get that wet track that he's been longing for a while now. And last time he did have a wet track, he finished second to Luca Bell here at Sandown on the Lakeside track. That was obviously back on the 5th. So this was this time sort of last year, really, that last time he's performed well. He's had a good spell off the scene. He had a break. He came back. He was disappointed at Moonee Valley, and then he has had a spell since then. So hopefully he hasn't had too many issues. He is out of side by Savabeel, so I do think he'll get probably over a little bit further ground, but I think he can run well first up on his favoured surface. So he goes in for second. And for third, number 12, Mount Popper, who's another interesting import and comes in this first up, has form on a wet track. Has had 5 starts on a soft for 5 placings, 1 start on a heavy track for a placing as well. So Mount Popper's got a chance here as well. Obviously, is going to get over much further. 2,000 plus will be its go. So I think I'll be hitting the line well, but I'm just not sure if I can go up first up over 400 metres, especially at the $6. So it goes in for third. And then in for fourth, I think number 5, Eureka Streak, run well first up here for Jason Warren. Ben Mellon, the saddle. Ben Mellon absolutely flying at the moment, riding plenty of winners. This horse has form on a wet track, especially a heavy track, so I don't think we'll be getting that, but he does have 4 on a wet track, which is what you want to see. And to see, he could be a sneaky chance first up here. He has won first up before from 4 goes, so he could be a bit of a chance as well. But look, really good race. I am looking at the some of the first starters and the horses that are, not first starters, the horses that are first up here, and a couple of the imports. And one of them is number 16, I Could Do Better. I think has got a good chance here, though, in the saddle. In for second. Number third, in for second, number 11, Gold Bag. In for third, number 12, Mount Popper. And in for fourth, I've got number 5, Eureka Street. Moving on to race number 5 now on the program, and it is a 400 metre fillies and mares benchmark 84 race for the Furphy celebration of Melbourne Handicap. What a fantastic city it is, no bias there at all. But look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that Soaring Eagle will be up there. Something Silver, Secret Shiaz off barrier number 6 will be prominent enough. I'd say that Annabelle might push forward as well, but not a whole lot of pace in this race here. And as such, it'll be quite interesting to see how far back some of these will be. Now, look, Shahzaid, she's got a lot of ability, and she has form on a wet track, which is obviously big positives. And the last 2 wins have been on heavy surfaces, but I couldn't go at her at the 450. I just thought that was a fraction short. So I've looked and gone at number 5, see what she brings here at first up. I think it run well here and did win first up last preparation at Kyneton in a 64 grade race. Then it went to a 71 again. Then went to Moonee Valley in a Group 3, finished second to a horse called Amangiri. So look, she's got some ability. See what she brings, and I think she can run well first up here. She doesn't mind a wet surface. She's had 5 starts on a soft track for 2 wins, so I think that she just might be a bit of a sneaky chance here first up. So I've got her on top ahead of number 2, Kingsbrook, who is now with Peter Moody, and last start was really good at Flemington behind Novacia. So has that form, and Novacia since come out and run well again. So she has a very good chance here, Kingsbrook, and she's really good on a soft surface as well. She's had 9 starts for 4 wins, so she comes right into this as well. I think she's got a nice chance at the $11. Obviously, Peter Moody coming back to Saturday grade to say he had his first Metropolitan winner the other day. He had his first, and he now has a Saturday runner, so he could potentially. It's so good to see his horses coming back and him starting to find a few winners again. So I think Kingsbrook has got a good chance. So it goes in for second. In for third, I've got number 1, Music Bay, who finally gets a wet track. This horse, who I think is very good on a wet track and can turn its form around at the $23. I think it's massive odds. Michael Poyser in the saddle, he's in great form. So if this horse decides to press forward and be towards the lead division, this horse can be a very good chance to win here for Philip Stokes. So I think she's got a good chance at big odds at 23. So she goes in for third. And then in for fourth, I do have number 13, Shahzaid, who she has been in good form last 2 starts, and she is a talent, but she's just that little bit of a query. She has had those good runs on a heavy track, which I don't think that we will be getting tomorrow. So just interested to see if she can run that same type of race that on a softer track, or perhaps even a firm track. I don't think we'll get that good track tomorrow, but there's a potential that I think it'll swing that way rather than towards the heavy. So So You Swing also has a chance. Just think that with not a lot of pace in the race, going to have to do a lot to come from back there, and it's definitely a horse that's better on top of the ground than in a soft track, although last start was good, finishing 5th behind Viral first up on a soft track. Queen Ladiva is another one who I think's got a bit of a chance as well. Horse that does like a rate-affected track for Lindsay Smith. It was good, really good winning last start at Bendigo. And another horse, looks Surprise off the quick backup from last start. Blinkers come on for this start, and again comes sort of stays on that wet track. It could be a good improver. And No Effort's another one who I think is just a bit over the odds. Finally gets a wet track off its first 2 runs were on a firm surface, and she now gets onto a wet track, so she could be a big knockout chance at the $51. So real open race here, and that's why I've gone with some value, and that's number 5, See What She Brings on top for me, ahead of number 2, Kingsbrook, in for second, in for third, number 1, Music Bay, and in for fourth, number 13, Shahzaid. But it's a real open affair. There's a lot of them that can win this. I'd be going very wide if you're playing with sort of trifectas, first fours, and quaddies. This would be the leg where you want to be going wide, because I think there's quite a lot of those that can win that race. Moving on to race number 6 now. It's over 2,520 metres open race here. The Grinders Coffee Carriage Paddock Plate. Look at the speed map for this race here. I'd suggest that Valak will go towards the pace. Sasko will probably be the one that leads them up. Indiana Lily, Palomino Mina, and Nashville Sam will probably be the other leaders. And Chapada, I'd suggest, would be close enough as well here in this race. I'm interested to see how Starcast can go here, bouncing back. I heard during the week Sam Freeman say that they think that he will improve coming back onto a slightly firmer track. He has had 2 goes on the heavy the last 2 starts, and he just does not handle it. So if we have the heavy track tomorrow, I'll put a line through him. But if we get that soft track again tomorrow, or even a firm track, like a good track, I think he'll be hard to beat here. I think he can bounce back to form at the $8.50. So he goes on top for me, ahead of number 8, Masafu. I've been a big follower of, and I was very keen on it last start. And I did say to people who want to play that sort of roughy option, he was the one, and he ran really well behind Savahid. He hit the line well from a long way back. He was last on turning, and he rocketed home to finish third. That was an impressive run. and he definitely warrants the $3.50. He just has that inside barrier to contend with, which is a little bit sticky the way that this speed map plays out. But he's got a massive amount of ability, and it's coming from me, a person who I've followed him since he had his first race start here in Australia. So he has got a good chance in for second. In for third, number 4, Chapada, who I think is getting closer and closer to win. Just doesn't win out of turn. That's the only problem. He is a bit of a hard one to catch. I think you can play him for the place more so than the win. He was good finishing third behind Super Titus last start. I thought that was a good performance, and gets onto a soft track who isn't necessarily as much of it as he's going, but I just think he's in good form and he's getting closer. He's fourth up now, rock hard fit. This could be the race that he could win. Although, like I said, the surface, he'll be hoping that it dries out a little bit by tomorrow. And then in for fourth, I've got number 7, Cinder Win, who's ever consistent. This horse, he's very good, and he's got Damien Oliver in the saddle. He was fourth last time out behind Sasco on a heavy track. I think he'd be much better coming back onto a slightly firmer surface. He's had 3 starts on a soft track for winning and a placing, and he's had obviously multiple. He's had over 30 starts on a good track. He's had 5 wins and 15 placings. So he's very consistent. You can go him at 480, but I think he perhaps is just a fraction short for me in terms of the way the market probably shapes up. And look, Sasco will be hoping for a lot more rain, but look, he's in good form. He could run well again at the $9.50. The other horse that I do think has a bit of a chance, number 9, Kiss and Cry, who's really reached some good form and beat a decent field last time at the Sandown Lakeside track, and beat a horse called Declares War there, who I think Declares War's got above average ability. And so this horse is good on a wet track as well. Michael Rod in the saddle, $10 is a bit of overs about it as well. So recap the numbers for me. I do think Starcast can bounce back being onto that slightly drier track than the heavy, and I think it'll be hard to beat. So I've got it on top of the $8.50. If for second, number 8, the Saf. If for third, I've got number 4, Chapada. And if for fourth, number 7, Sin to Win. Moving on to race number 7 on the program now. It's the Henry Byron Moore handicap over 1,800 metres, benchmark 84 race. Look at the speed map here. I'd suggest that Southern Rock will probably find the top with Artie Lucas. Mr. Reckless and Gazara will probably be pushing up as well, being prominent in the run. Interesting race here. Look, I have landed with number 11, Aussie Nugget, hoping this horse doesn't get too far back. And this horse will be hoping for a drier track. It doesn't have good wet track form. That's why I went against it last start. But it was so good last time out. It just had no luck at all. It really did hit the line well. Prior to that, on a heavy track, finished second, a shot of Irish, and that's been pretty decent form. So while he doesn't necessarily have the win in the column of the wet tracks, he has run pretty well on it the last couple of starts. So that suggests to me that he can run well enough. And if the track just dries out, we get that downgrade to maybe the soft 5, I think he's got a chance. So he goes on top, 440. I would have liked probably a bit of a bigger price considering he was unlucky last start, but I was hoping that the fact that he just finished 6th, that the market would have forgotten about him a little bit, but they definitely have obviously seen the replay and thought that he will be a good chance he gets even luck here. So he goes on top. You have number 7, Southern Rock, who I think is getting closer to winners. Was a good second up performance here in Australia last start at Flemington, finished second. 5th in that race behind Sava Heat. Third up here, far more fitter at 800 metres, third up now. I think it'll be hard to beat as well, so it's got a good chance of the $10 in for second. In for third, number 8, No Saying It, who comes into this off a 7-day backup, who obviously ran at Caulfield last Saturday and ran pretty well behind All Too Huing, and that was a good run there and came from a long way back in the field. I think it can run well here as a horse that's proven on a wet track as well. Hasn't won on one, but has been in the placing, so I think it can do that here again. So it goes in for third. And then in for fourth, got to have number 1, Savaheat, just for the simple fact that he was so good last start. I don't think he'll get that heavy track this time. He'll be on the softer surface, but still think he's got a good enough chance at the $14 considering his last start winner. Credence is another one second up who could be a bit of a blowout, so I wouldn't be leaving him out of quaddies or anything, but he is definitely better on the firmest track, so he'll be hoping that it dries out. So if it is a bit of a soft track tomorrow, I'd probably leave him out. But Mr. Reckless is also another one I think will run well enough. Was a bit disappointing last start, but is a horse that's a bit better on that sort of softer surface, so he could perhaps bounce back. But I'm pretty confident with my top selections. And I've got number 11, Aussie Nugget, on top for me, ahead of number 7, Southern Rock in for second. In for third, number 8, No Saying It. And in for fourth, number 1, Savaheat. Moving on to race number 8 on the program now. It's a VRC Heritage Handicap over 1,400 metres, open handicap race. Looking at the speed map here. Quite a lot of pace as well, I'd suggest. I'd say Roxer Castle will find the top, though. Serious Suspect will probably spear across, get up on the pace as well. Romancer likes to be forward in its runs. Haunted, tricky barrier for it. It's going to have to sort of find a spot somewhere. Iconoclasm might be pretty prominent as well, but I think Rocks the Castle will be hard to beat. Will be leading here, and I think it'll also be hard to beat coming to this second up at $9.50. I think it's got a very good chance. It's a horse that runs much better second up than it does first up. So 4 starts, second up for 2 wins and a placing. So I think it can run well here. Obviously, last prep was the one time it missed that second up placing, and when it finished ninth at Flemington behind Galaxy Raider, that was over the 1400 metres. So similar race here again, but I think that Roxor Castle can run well here. I liked its first up performance where it was beaten by Great again at Flemington a couple of weeks ago and finished only 2.6 lengths off there. I think it'll be much more improved off of that. It doesn't look to be put under a whole lot of pressure, so it might be able to get a decent enough lead where it's able to kick away and give them something to catch. So it goes on top for me ahead of number 10, Kenya, who's an interesting runner who's been absolutely smacked in the betting, which is obviously what you want to see with the imports. I couldn't put it on top because it's coming off a near 2 year break. So, I mean, that's it's hard to get too confident about a horse like that, but it is a good horse that runs well fresh and does run well on a wet track. So, and the fact that the market is the market push is there, and the Freeman Yard, usually when they get a bit of market support in their runners, they do run really well. So it's a horse that I think can run well first up. Looks to have ability and will probably be better than these horses in time. I'm just not sure about first up off that near 2 year break. It's a long time to come back onto the course. So it goes in for second for me. In for third, number 12, Vacillator, who just continues to run good races, but just can't win. It obviously finished fourth last start behind Iconoclasm, came from miles back and was only 0.4 of length off. I was pretty keen on it that day at the big odds, and it, as typically some of them do, ran fourth on that occasion. It was a narrow fourth as well. He is much better on a wet track, which obviously he gets here again. He has a soft, gets onto a soft track. Last time he was on a soft track, finished second at Order of Command, who obviously then came out one of Wangoom, and the form out of the Wangoom's been excellent. So, look, I think Vacillator's got a good enough chance here at the $8.50, so he goes in for third. And then over fourth, number 6, Haunted, who's obviously usually very good on wet tracks. At 8 starts on a soft track for 3 wins and 4 placings. Just has that outside barrier. If it drew a better gate, I would have been very keen on its chances. So $8.50 is about the right price. Iconoclasm has a chance, just not a horse that's very good on a wet surface. That's my only issue with it at $5, a bit short for me. And Asian Rook could probably bounce back, but again, another horse that's not great on the wet surface. Moss and Dale could be one that could really blow him out the water first up here. He's 100% a wet tracker and didn't really find that last preparation. So, and when it did, it was in a good listed race won by Young Prince on Melbourne Cup Day. So, Moss and Dale wouldn't surprise me if it comes out and wins at the big odds, but I just couldn't find it in my numbers due to that inconsistency. So, recapping my numbers, I am pretty keen on number 4, Rocks the Castle on top, ahead of number 10, Kenya in for second. Really interested in that runner there, so it goes in for second. In for third, number 12, Moss and Dale, and in for fourth, I've got number, number 6, Haunted, my mistake. Moving on to the final race of the program now, and it's race number 9. It's a 3-year-old race over 1,400 metres. It's the Baggett's Cowshed Handicap. Look at the speed map for this race here. I'd suggest that Jolly Sailor will be up there, done by me, and Merited will be up towards the pace. Seafield Road, who's been in great form at Sale, will be coming across. Uluru will probably be up there as well. Maybe Alberk and Oriental will probably look to tuck in behind the speed battle and get a bit of cover and come into the race now. Really good race to finish off the day here. I really do think it's a nice field and really wide open field as well. Look, I have landed with number 2, High Stranger here, who I just can't understand why this still goes around to big odds. It did so last start, was beaten by a good horse in Rocket Bassarana, who I think is a very nice type. Prior to that, beats Beauty Supreme well at Caulfield first up. It's gone around 20 to 1. Both starts finished good, a first and a second. Now comes in this race here at $11, and I just don't know about that. I just think that it should be much shorter in the market. So anyway, I'm going to take it at the $11. Steps out at 400 metres, which is what this horse is probably more ideal distance range is, even though it has been very good over the sprinting trips so far. So I think this horse has just been forgotten about again in the market. So I'm going to have it on top. I think it's going to be hard to beat. So it goes on top for me. Obviously gets barrier number 1 as well. So I'm hoping John McNeil's pretty positive out of there and gets towards the pace and should be able to get a real good run in the race. But in for second, I've got number 13, Merited. I think can bounce back off its last start performance. It was a little bit disappointing there. It was just overcome late by the likes of Liberate, and the form of that race been quite good. But prior to that, was beaten by Lea Chevalier, who came out one again. So the form around Merited has been good. And, I think that this horse will be hoping that it dries out a bit, but Damien Oliver is in the saddle, so that is a bit of a positive. He obviously jumps in now, and I think this horse can improve and run a better race up on the pace if the track dries out that fraction. So it goes in for second. In for third, number 4, Al Burke, who I think can bounce back off its last start performance on a heavy track. Prior to that was really good, two runs behind Final Man. Obviously, again, another horse to be hoping that it dries out a little bit as well. So it goes in for third. And then in for fourth, I've got number 8, Kuramai, who I think comes back to the scene of the crime where it knocked a lot of people out. 2 starts back at the 40 to 1 dollar odds. It comes back here again, and I think it's got a nice chance here once again. Obviously, Flemington is the main track. It was disappointing last time out behind La Chevalier on a heavy track, but it comes back on a soft to potentially, not, I don't think we'll get a good track, but on a soft track, I think that Kuramai can bounce back to form, so it goes in as well. I've left She Shall Fly out. She can obviously win this race. I was counting her last start. I just thought she was very disappointing behind La Chevalier, but prior to that, she was good behind Barbie's Fox. She ran up home really well, and she obviously comes back off the heavy, back onto a soft track, which she has won on before. So she can run well at the big odds with Dwayne Dunn in the saddle at the $23, so I wouldn't be leaving it out of any sort of trifecta or anything. Barbie's Fox I've left out as well. It was a good run last time out behind La Chevalier, and obviously, like I mentioned, did beat She Shall Fly home, so it's got a bit of a chance being a wet track. I've left Triton Rising out, just 'cause I think it's way too short. I know he's got a lot of ability, and he's come back as a gelding, but he was only just sort of got the job done at last start at the Pakenham synthetic track, and I don't think he really beat much there. So I'm just not sure about that. I don't think he warrants being the favourite anyway. But look, I'm very keen on number 2, High Stranger here. I think this horse will be very hard to beat. $11 is a great price, so it goes on top for me ahead of number 13, Meriton for second, who I think can improve and run a better race. If a third, sorry, I've got. Sorry, if the third is number 4, Al Burke, and for fourth, I've got number 8, Kuramai, but a very open race to finish off the last of the program at Flemington. Now, going back through the card and looking at my sort of best bets of the program, I'm pretty keen on Brazado in race number 1 at the $2.40. I just think that he's got a bit on those once again. He's in good form. He's come back into the type of form that we know he's capable of. So he goes on top. He's $2.40. I know it's quite short, but I do think he is going to be really hard to beat. And as you guys know, I don't often go those horses at the shorter price unless I'm quite confident on it. So he's one of my best bets of the program. Don't have to wait long. Race number 1, number 1, Brazado. The other horse that I am pretty keen on as a best bet comes in race number... race number 6. Yeah, race number 7. Sorry, race number 7. And of course, it is number 11, Aussie Nugget, who I think can bounce back and run well here. Obviously, I've got a lot of value in this program here, which a lot of you will enjoy out there, I'm sure. I think Rocks the Castle in race number 8 can lead all the way and be hard to beat at the $9.50. So it's one of my best value bets, race 8, number 9, Rocks the Castle. And the other one I think is a bit of a chance at odds is number 10, Starcaster. I think can bounce back in race number 6. That's race number 6, number 10, Starcaster. So thanks once again for tuning in to another one of my previews. Hopefully you find plenty of winners tomorrow. If you've already done so, go check out my Eagle Farm media, of course, with the Stradbroke there and the JJ Atkins. Really good fields, and hopefully we get plenty of winners out of there as well. And stay tuned if you've already watched those. That one, now this one, you got the round week preview coming up next, so stay tuned for that one if you're looking to play there tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in. Like I said, if you haven't already done so, subscribe and like the videos, and leave a comment down below if you've got any thoughts on tomorrow or anything that you like. I can give you, if there's anything that I haven't covered that you want my opinion of, I can give you what I think is the chances and the reasons for perhaps backing it or not backing it tomorrow. So good luck if you're playing tomorrow. And like I said, also, if you haven't already followed me on social media, go and do so as well. _Racing Tips on Facebook and C-Lane Racing Tips on C-Lane Racing Tips on Facebook and C-Lane _Racing Tips on Instagram. So thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you find plenty of us tomorrow and enjoy the great racing.